Hello again, and it's time for another project. Today we're going to do some scroll saw and some routing work on this very simple workshop plaque sign. Right, as always, print off your template, stick it in place. Now with scroll saw, I would normally line this wood with painter's tape, spray glue and stick that straight to it. But I actually want to keep hold of this template so I can use it again. So therefore I've got my carbon paper underneath and literally just drawn around it. And that will give us what we're looking for. And then we literally just remove that. And we can use that again and again and again. Okay, so far so good. So there's our template. This is just rough fencing board. Take 5 minutes just to sand it down. But we are going to cut all this out, so there's nothing to go too crazy over the edges. Once we've done the scroll saw side of things, and then we'll go on to the router bit. And the idea is to lower every other letter. So the W will stay as it is, and then we'll route out the O to lower it down, keep the R, route out the K, keep the S, route out the H, and so on. Just to make it a little bit more different. Right, the blades I'm going to use are spiral blades. I really like them. These are just like tubes. And they cut from all angles. Front, left, right, back, forward. So instead of moving your wood like so on a standard blade, which is this one here, a pin blade, you'll have to move that up, then turn it round, cut down there, then turn it round to cut up there, and so on. Whereas a spiral blade, you can literally just keep the wood like so. You put your blade in and you can slide it just like that. So no turning, no twisting. Spiral blades are ideal for big projects where you haven't got enough room on your scroll saw to turn it round, or deeper ones, 20 inch, 40 inch wide, should I say. They also get pinless blades. They're really small. You'll need a bracket for these, an adapter clamp, which I also need for the scroll saw. Spiral blade, I do apologise. Spiral blade. So you've got spiral blade, a pinless blade, and a pin blade. Obviously that's called a pin blade because it's got the little pins at the end there. Okay, right, let's pop in this spiral blade and we'll start cutting this out. Just before we do that, we need to drill some pilot holes into our centerpieces, just so we can feed that blade through. Once we fed it through, we'll put it back on the saw. Cut out all the middle sections first, because that just gives you a nice big area to support it. If you remove this one and then do the middle piece, you've only got those little bits to play with. I mean, this is alright because it's quite thick wood, to be honest. But on delicate stuff, always remove the inners. So we'll drill these holes first and then we'll pop it on the scroll saw. Right, we've drilled all our pilot holes. We've fed the blade through the middle one. So we're going to cut out all these inner sections first. We've got it onto our silly little clamp that we have. The more modern scroll saws, you don't need this now. They're just a clip device and it's so easy. But I'm happy with this and it does for me. So as you can see, we fed it through there. What we'll do, we'll cut out the centre of the letter R. Release a clamp. Put it into the O, release a clamp, and we'll move on like so. We'll show you a couple of cuts. Like I said before, with a spiral blade, I'll just literally go like so. Where if it was a pin blade, you'd have to come down this line and then turn that piece around to carry on going round. This is gonna knock into your belly. And when you go the opposite way on, and just swing it round, you actually might just get round with this one. That would knock on the back section of the saw, like so. So bear that in mind. Spiral blades, you're either going to love them or hate them. I'm quite happy with them. So we'll cut out the inner pieces now. Right, we've done our inner letters. They come out really nice. Cuts really well, does this fencing wood. To say it's only cheap fencing, and it's quite thick, as you can see in there. So we've done our 8 little cuts inside, even the small one there. Now it's just a case of going round the outside, and we'll cut that next. We'll do that in one section, one complete bit. Right, as you can see from that, we've gone all the way round. That's cut really easy. What I didn't show you on this one, normally when I'm cutting the outer, I would have just gone in with the blade and cut straight across here and cut it out. But I want to use this backing. Like I say, I want to use this backing just as a rest for putting the router on. Now you could route over that. Remember, we've got to remove the O, the K, the H and the letter P, just to lower them down a fraction, just so it's not so flat. When you come on with your router, my router's got such a small base, and we are going to go to the edge of this. There's chances of you falling off and dipping all over the place. So we're going to use that as a backdrop, just so when we come over the top with the router, we can also run on these thicker chunks at either side. So literally what I did, just drilled another little pilot hole in there and sent the blade, so it keeps it in one piece basically. But yeah, that's come out nicely. You could leave it like that and just paint it if you wanted to, but not on this project. Right, the bits I'm going to use for the router side of things, as always for me, these little CNC bits. These are ideal for line work and stuff. They are like little pins. If I can get hold of one, like so. And they're ideal just for going around the lines to separate one letter from another, so that when we don't come in with a bigger piece, like that section there, you could pop that off easy. But because we've separated it with our CNC bit, we've drawn a line basically in between. There's no chance of it chipping off or being well. They do have a small shaft on them, so you require a collet, and that's literally one of those. That's a 3/4 inch collet. You slide your CNC bit inside, same side as a Dremel. These are 3.175mm, and that will fit nicely into your router. And we're just literally gonna go around the lines here, and round here, and round there, and so on. And then we'll put on a bigger piece to clear out the lettering completely. Basically the ones that I've shaded. Normally I would use mill end bits, but for this one, these straight metric bits, double-sided. It's a big boy, is that one. And we've got no fear of damaging anything. We're literally just going to put it on there and skim that down a couple of mil on every one. Okay, let's set up the router and start doing our line work first. Right, we've done our little line work with our CNC bit. That didn't take too much doing. You can see from there. So we literally put a line down there, and that separates those two letters now, so we'll have no issues. I've took a bit out here. That's what I call my depth charger. So when we put on our straight metric bit, we can set it to the same depth as that, and literally we're going to skim over all these letters. Or every other one, should I say. And it doesn't matter if you come to the edge here. This backing's of no good to anybody. Just go a bit delicate when we go down the sides. Right, let's put this one on now. And clear out the O, K, H and P. Right, we've made it all the way around in one piece. Doesn't matter when you're routing out how much you skim over the edge here, because obviously that's just a backing board, just to help us out with the router. So we're just going to pop this out now. We've done with that. So there's our basic sign that we're looking for. Now I'll get the Dremel and just general tidy up. It doesn't matter how rough this wood is, we'll soon sand it down. Right, we've sanded down enough. I'm quite happy to leave this one just as it is. It's just a fun project on a bit of scrap wood. This one is actually going on the side of my shed, so it's not that important. You can see I've just shaped it a little bit there with the Dremel burrs, just to make it a bit different from being standard nice square lettering. Now you could leave it like that. I've actually got one on the side of my shed which I've left like this, and I just put linseed oil on. You could paint these alternate colours, would be nice. Red and whites, greens, blues, whatever. I'm just going to throw some of this dark stain on. Stuff I've just found. I think I've spilt most of it on the table over there, as you can see. So I'm just going to use the last bit up, deep mahogany, and then that will be the end of this can thrown away. So I'm not overly concerned. This is for my shed, so it doesn't really matter. So it's just a case of throwing this on, like so. You can see how it's going to darken it down. I'll just throw this on completely. It might not be my best choice, but you don't know until you try these things. Okay, that's nicely dried. No problem there. I've sprayed on 3 or 4 coats of my crystal clear sealant. I use this on most of my projects. It's really nice stuff. I didn't need it. It's already treated wood, remember. It is a fence post, scrap fencing wood at the end of the day. So it's been tannalised, pressurised. So just be careful of the chemicals that have been put into this wood when you're actually working with it. It's only in the dust, remember. But it's nice and cheap, and it's ideal to practice on. Somebody that's new to scrolling and routing out work, you won't go wrong with that. And the end results are just as good as if you're paying really big money for your oaks and whatever, or your fancy woods. So there we have it. One workshop plaque, 22 inches by 4.5 roughly, on a scrap bit of fencing wood. Thank you very much for watching.